Hello, America. I'm going to do a quick or a long version Q&A. Had one of my comments on the channel requested long version of driving, like a whole hour, you know. And I couldn't think of why would anybody want to watch an hour of just driving down a road, you know. But there are places in this country that are really, really pretty, and so I thought, well, I just went over Lookout Pass up in Idaho, Montana in the winter, and that would be a really good one for a long version. And I've got like 17 minutes going up the hill and then 17 minutes coming back down the hill, so I got like, you know, half hour worth of video. And I thought, instead of just doing raw video, just driving down the road with maybe some music on it or whatever, I thought that'd be a good time to do some Q&A. So I could do Q&A and have the long version video, just driving. And if you didn't want to listen to me, just turn the volume down and watch the video, you know, the dash cam. So anyway, here we go, I guess. Okay, this video is actually, just so you know, it's Interstate 90, and it starts out at Kellogg, Idaho, and runs about, I don't know, about 15 miles to the top of the mountain at Lookout Pass, and then down the other side, and I think it shuts off somewhere around DeBorgia, Montana, which is about the 18-mile marker, somewhere along in there. So it's about, altogether, it's about 30 miles of driving over a beautiful mountain pass in the winter with snow everywhere. So enjoy. Alright, let's see. Here's one of the first question, or first comment here was, I think the sound of the sound inside your truck is awesome. I miss the sound and the sound of the reefer at night. Thanks, Stan. It brought back memories. Oh, you're welcome. Just engine noise, but yeah, it is soothing. You know, it's just kind of a soft rumble, and yeah, it is something. It's a unique sound. It's kind of like a V8 engine or something. It has a unique sound. I love the Jake sound, Jake brakes and stuff. Let's see down here. Ron Marsh, Stan, do you have electronic logbooks, or is your truck old enough to be exempt? No, it's an 07. To be exempt, it has to be a 99. I think a 2000 truck will qualify for exempt if it has a 99 engine in it. So, but yeah, mine's an 07, and no, I have to run electronic logs. I run the logbook that the company uses. It's a cell phone app. I can't think of the name of it offhand, but anyway, it's the real common cell phone app one. It's a mighty fine hat. Well, thank you. Yeah. Let's see here. Wish I had smell-o-vision for all the cooking stuff. Yeah, the stuff that really smells good is the bell peppers. It's just amazing how good those things smell. Hey, here's Vicky Cromer. Very interesting, but I have no idea what you're talking about, so no questions. I was on the 18-speed transmission. So let's see here. Have I ever been in an accident in my truck? Yeah, I've been in very small fender bender type accidents. I've never had a major accident of any type. I've had my 09 Kenworth got destroyed, but I wasn't in it. It was it was in a loading dock, and a shipping container fell over and crushed it. That's a whole nother story. I think I've touched on it on a couple other videos earlier on, but yeah, as far as laying a truck over in a ditch or having any major accidents, no, I've never had any bad accidents. I'm pretty cautious. I've had, you know, fender benders. I can't remember the last time I had an accident that was my fault. Seems like most of the accidents I've had were somebody else running into me, and I know that's everybody says that, but not really. Even the police reports and stuff like that are other people hitting me, and you know, I'm trying to avoid them, you know. So most of the time it's a car hitting a fender or something like that. It's nothing major. I had another semi sideswiped me one time, had it on dash cam, and that dash cam saved me because I would have had to fix my own truck had it not been for the dash cam. The dash cam proved that he came over into my lane and sideswiped me, and the cop gave him a ticket, which gave my insurance company the ammunition to use against him to make them pay for my truck, you know, to get it repaired. So, but yeah, I've never had any really, really major accidents. Oh, here's something. I look forward to watching your post. I've caught up and now and have viewed all of them. I do like that you are numbering them. I don't know if everybody realizes that, but the number at the very beginning of every video, that's the number of the video. The very first one was 1, and then the second one was 2, and on up. I think this one's going to be 162 or 163. I think 163. So yeah, if I ever tell you, you know, to go back and look at a particular video, I'll just tell you the number, and you can just type it in and go straight to it. Says you have a real flair for integrating your music choices in video cuts, and a lot of people ask me about music on these. Where do I get them? What kind of genre it is? I don't know half the genres, but it's all of them are on YouTube. When you become a YouTube creator, which technically I'm a creator because I create these videos. When you become a creator, it opens up a whole, like the backstage. Think of a stage, and you're sitting there watching the front of the stage and in the audience. When you're a creator, you get to go backstage and see all the the stuff behind the scenes as far as the website's concerned. And you can use video or audio, music and stuff and sound effects and things like that they have on file that have cleared things like copyright and whatnot. And they actually hire musicians to make music for them, and they pay the musicians, and then they put this music up on their site for people like me to use. There are other websites, audio file or audio box or something like that. There's there's several websites. I can't think of the names of them because I don't use them. That you pay a service like $100 a year or something like that, or $20 or $10 a month or something like that, and they have all kinds of different kinds of music on there that you can get. But YouTube gives us stuff for free, so why pay for it? I guess if I was doing a more professional, serious type video, I guess I would probably pay for some of that stuff. But for what I do, these songs work just fine. And I just go through there, and they've got them categorized as country and contemporary and rock and whatever, and just in different moods. Like there's different kinds of rock, real soft rock or real angry rock or excited rock. There's just different categories you can go through and find. What I do is I get them, and then I'll download them on my hard drive, and whenever I need a video, I've got, I don't know, probably a couple hundred songs, and they're these kind of songs that you hear on the videos here. I've got them all downloaded on the hard drive, and whenever I am looking for a particular kind of music, I just go listen through them and listen. And, oh, that one would go good with this snow. This another song might not go good with snow. It might be more of a Spanish guitar type thing. Well, that would go good in Arizona or southern Texas, down along the border somewhere. You'd get bayou music out of, like, for Louisiana. When I'm in Louisiana, I try to look up stuff for like Cajun music or stuff like that. St. Louis and Memphis, maybe the blues, something like that. So I try to go with what might work. So, all right, enough on music. Let's see. Trucker's Cooking Show. What will you think of next? I've always done a few little videos of cooking, and I just got that off of other YouTubers. Main one is Brian, Adventure Van Man. He does a little bit of cooking on his channel. He said on his that he does a little bit of cooking on his channel so his mom doesn't worry that he's eating good. So. I kind of liked watching him cook and do stuff, and I thought that'd be a neat little thing for me to do. So I kind of copied him on that. Let's see. Everybody likes the captions and all that I've been putting on here. What highway? So it's a little bit more work. It just takes time, but not a whole lot. But it does take a little bit more time to put these on there. But it makes the video more relatable to you guys. So I'm glad you like it. Let's see. Must be a smooth ride in that rig. Everything in the corner is still in its place. That red item, is that a non-stick surface? No. What that is a drying pad where you do your dishes and just set them over there, let them drip dry. It's just something I bought at Walmart and lay it over there, and it just keeps things from sliding around on that countertop. That if you put something metal or hard or plastic or whatever on the Formica countertop, you go around the corner, it slides right off. So it's a bit of a non-stick surface, non-slip surface, I guess, but not much. I drive pretty gentle because I'm just so used to having cargo in the back of the trailer. You don't want to knock it over. So I'm a pretty gentle driver when I talk, going around corners and things like that. A lot of people mention driverless trucks, autonomous trucks and electric, the Tesla semi. I might be wrong on this, but I just don't see that coming up very soon. I mean, sure, all the people that are building them, they're talking it up like it's going to be the next thing, like next week almost, Oh, yeah, we're going to start building these trucks. Now, you have any idea how many trucks there are in this country? How long it would take to build trucks where they're the common? You've got trucks out there that are natural gas, either compressed natural gas or liquefied natural gas, and they aren't very prevalent in the industry, and they've been around for quite a while, and they're very few of them, and the ones that are out there are they're for route trucks, somebody that goes from one place to another, for instance, like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, Frito-Lay, those kind of companies where they run from one warehouse to another, and they're on a regular route, and they know exactly how many miles they're going to be gone, how many, how long they're going to be gone. So those electric trucks will probably work good on those. But for what I do, I don't think they're going to work for quite some time. When I say quite some time, I'm talking 10, 15 years before they're really common in the overall trucking scheme. There's just too many variables when it comes to long-haul trucking, and trying to get, there's not near enough places to charge them or anything like that. Another thing that a lot of people I don't think about when it comes to autonomous vehicles, not the electric vehicles, but autonomous, self-driving trucks. Sure, they work. Okay, we're going to do a test. We're going to run it from St. Louis to San Diego, and they get the truck there, and it got there safe. Okay, but nobody knows that it's an autonomous truck. There's going to be, nobody thinks about things like sabotage. There's going to be, let's say, truck drivers, not me. I'll be retired by the time they get on the road. But there's going to be drivers out there that are going to be mad, hey, I'm losing my job to this robot running truck, So they go out there and slam their brakes on in their car, slam their brakes on in front of the truck, and the truck rear ends them, and then they try to sue the company, the autonomous truck, driverless truck. There's going to be those kind of things. Now, I know those trucks will have all kinds of cameras and all kinds of recording systems on there and everything, so that'll make it tough for people to do that. But trust me, people will do that kind of stuff. Not only sabotage, but just practical jokes. Some kids out on a Saturday night, and they see an autonomous truck. Hey, there's one of those autonomous trucks pulled up to the stoplight. They go over and put a traffic cone in front of it. It won't run over that traffic cone, because for all it knows, it's a person. So it won't run. It'll just sit there and tie up traffic. Ha, ha, ha. They're having a great laugh. That's the kind of stuff that will be hard to get around, and I don't know if that'll be a huge thing, but still. Another thing is, you get a couple of autonomous trucks out there, and one of them goofs up one day. I mean, you got a really high-dollar cell phone. The thing has glitches in it, okay? I don't know, because I'm not in the military in that field, but drones, I'm sure they've had drones crash just because of a glitch, not because it was shot down or something, but just a glitch comes in for a landing or whatever, and there's a glitch, and it crashes. Well, that's fine, because it's crashing out on an airport runway in a war zone somewhere, but that same glitch in a semi going down the highway runs over a minivan full of kids, you know, there's going to be hell to pay on that, you know. So I just don't see that it's going to be that. They will be out there, but I don't think they're going to be that widespread for quite some time. So what else? What's the other stuff with autonomous trucks? Just, you know, you have a couple accidents and people will say, hey, we don't like this idea, you know, and they'll get with their congressmen and stuff like that, pass laws against it, whatever. There will be the labor force, you know, like I said, the trucking companies, the drivers saying, hey, you know, you're taking all our jobs away. And, you know, so I don't know. I won't be around to see it. By the time they become a problem, so to say, as far as trucking jobs are concerned, I will be retired, so I won't have to worry about it. All right, let's move on to something else here. Dan, I see your 2nd Armored Division Hell on Wheels pin. That was some of the early videos. I had a hat, Army hat, ball cap, that had a pin on it. And I was in the military back in the early 80s, and I was in 2nd Armored Division down in Fort Hood, Texas, and served 3 years, and I was an M1 crew member on M1 tanks. So that's where that pin comes from. I need to get me another one. All right, great job with your editing. Question: when utilizing lights, etc., in the sleeper portion, does the diesel always have to be running? While we were camping at a bike rally, a guy pulled a cab, a truck cab combo, and I remember his generator kicking on and off throughout the night. It was kind of annoying to the rest of us. The generator that was kicking on was not the main engine. It was a APU unit, auxiliary power unit, and it was a little on the frame behind the sleeper. Usually, there's a box, and it has a APU, a generator, basically a small diesel engine with a generator on it, and it runs things like air conditioning and charges the batteries and runs heater. In the wintertime it runs heater, and in summertime it runs air conditioning. Not all trucks have them, but they're fairly common nowadays, mainly because they are a little just like my generator on my truck. It uses much less electricity, so or much less fuel, I should say. And an idling truck will use about a gallon an hour while it idles. So if you're sitting there all night long idling the truck for, let's say, 8 hours while you're sleeping or whatnot, there's 8 hours times, it's 8 gallons times $2.50, $2.80 a gallon, $3 a gallon, you know, so 8 times 3, that's $24 just in fuel costs, just, you know, to idle overnight, just to keep your butt warm, or air conditioned, cool. So these APU generators, they use about 1/10 of a gallon an hour. So you can run all night long on 1 gallon, costing $2.50, $3. So that's why a lot of drivers use that. But they're expensive. They're diesel engines, and the whole systems usually cost anywhere from $6,500, $7,000, all the way up to as much as $13,000 or $14,000. They're expensive units. Okay, here, Aussie Single Christian. Hey Stan, would love to hear a G'day for us Aussies. I am trying to do that. It's just such a habit for me to say good morning America. You know, it's such a habit for me to say that because I've been saying it for so long, up until the last month or so, and I guess I just never thought about YouTube being a worldwide media thing. I don't know. It just never crossed my mind. I just figured I'm talking to, you know, why would somebody that doesn't know, you know, English, like somebody in Germany, well, most people in Germany know how to speak English. I don't think about that kind of stuff though, you know. So it's just, you know, me being small-minded American, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to try to do that more often. One of my latest videos that I just put out, I said, good morning South America, and there was a reason for that. But whenever I get ready to do a video, I try to remember to do that, but a lot of times I forget. So, but I'm going to do that more often. I'm going to try to do a good day Australia. I'm going to try to do an Australian accent. So, and it'll probably be terrible. So, be prepared for that, Aussies. My Australian accent will probably sound South African or maybe British or something, or Irish, for all I know. But anyway, everybody loved the half video, half the beans, half this. I got a lot of kicks out of that one. What kind of cameras do I have? I have my main camera is a Canon 77D. And I've got probably 4 lenses for it. I think, yeah, about 4 lenses, I think. Different kinds of lenses. Everything from a wide angle lens to the medium lens to a telephoto lens. And then I've got one, it's a 150 to 600 millimeter. That thing will reach out and touch you. That thing is really big. I don't use it very often because I don't have that many reasons to use it, but I've got it. So... the other cameras are obviously a GoPro. It's a GoPro Hero 5 Black. When I first started out, that's the only camera I had. It was the dash cam, and I talked to it, and the audio was terrible. So about my first 20 videos, the audio was garbage. And that's the main reason I bought the Canon 77D, because it had a better mic, and it was a very well suggested camera for doing video blog type stuff. What else was there? I've got another GoPro type camera. It's a real small Chinese knockoff GoPro. It's like a $60 or $70 camera. I don't use it very often. I use it where I don't want to risk my $400 GoPro. You know, the GoPro was $399, I believe, and if I've got to hang a camera outside the truck, you know, just bolted on outside somewhere that might fall off into traffic, I'll use the cheapy one out there. It's also for, you know, if I ever do anything dangerous where I'm thinking I might lose the GoPro, I might drop it off a cliff or something, I'll use the old cheapy one. But most of the time I'm using the GoPro. What else? I've got, of course, my cell phone camera. I've got a Sony camcorder that I bought when I went up to Wyoming, just as an extra camera, and I don't use it very often. I probably ought to use it more, but I just don't have the need a lot of times. The 2 cameras I use mostly are the Canon 77D and the GoPro 5. And it seems like there's something else. It seems like I've got another camera. I just can't think of which one it would be. Maybe I'm thinking of my cell phone. Let's see. There's a lot of asked questions about these new, you know, a lot of people hear that trucking has automatic transmissions. They're fairly new. I mean, not yesterday new, but they're fairly new, the last 10 years or so. They came in probably around early 2000s. They started getting popular about 2005, right along in there. They're not automatic transmissions. They're manual transmissions that are auto shifted. Okay, now back in the 70s and 80s, if you had an automatic transmission in a truck, it was more than likely an Allison automatic. It's the same kind of transmission it would be in like a city bus. It's an automatic transmission, hydraulic fluids and all that, just like in your car. Okay, an automatic transmission, and that's a true automatic. The problem with those were they heated up when they had a lot of heat, a lot of weight on, pulling mountains and stuff. They tended to get hot, and you know, they overheated. Another problem was they're very heavy. They're a very, very heavy component when on a truck. I know you think, well, truck's awful heavy. Well, they try to build trucks as light as possible, because the lighter the truck and the lighter the trailer is, the more cargo you can haul, okay? Because you're limited, most trucks are limited to 80,000 pounds, unless you're hauling oversized loads or something with permits. Or out west where they have different axle ratings. But nationwide, for a truck that goes from Florida to Oregon, or Seattle, from Maine to San Diego, all the, you know, those kind of trucks that run all over the country, those are 80,000 pound limits. And you try to keep the truck as light as possible. So the Allison transmissions, they worked, but most of the time when you had an Allison transmission, it was usually somebody that couldn't shift. In other words, couldn't push the clutch in or something, a handicap of some type, a man without a leg or something. So you'd have an automatic transmission. I met a guy one time that had an automatic transmission. He only had one arm. He had a left arm. He didn't have a right arm to shift, so he had to use an Allison automatic. But they, like I said, they were heavy transmissions, and they usually get hot pretty easy. So the manual transmission was the standard way to go. And if you want to be a driver, you just needed to learn how to drive a manual transmission. Well, they invented this new thing called auto shift transmission, which was a manual transmission with a clutch, a brake, and an accelerator, just like every other truck. But instead of having a gear shift coming up through the floor, underneath the floorboard, on top of the transmission, there was a box that was integrated into the transmission, and there were pneumatic solenoids that would shift your transmission for you. Okay, they had one going left and right and one going forward backwards, and depending on which gear you needed to be in, they would, the one going left and right would line it up with the gate, and the one going forward or backward would shove it into the gate or back, either forward into the gate or backward into the gate. And that's the auto shift transmissions, okay? And then, but you still had a clutch. So in first gear, or third gear usually where you started out at, in third gear, you'd let the clutch out, and then after that, it would automatically shift for you. It's still a manual transmission, but there's a computer running this auto shift gizmo on the tranny. Then they invented an auto clutch. So they put the automatic transmission and auto clutch in union together. So now there are automatic trucks that don't have a clutch even. They've got a clutch, but there's no pedal. It's an automated clutch. Then the computer on the motor controls all this stuff and tells you, what it tells by how much RPM, how much torque you're using, whatever, and when it needs to shift. It knows when it needs to shift, and it shifts for you. Personally, I don't like them. I'd rather have a manual transmission. That's just because I'm old school. But people just starting out trucking, they love it because they don't have to worry about shifting gears. They can concentrate on the driving part. So they have their place. They're getting more and more common. When I drove a truck that had one long time ago, back around 2000, and it broke down in a year. It broke down about 3 different times, and to me, it was a piece of junk. I'm sure they've gotten a lot better since then, but back then I didn't like them. So I just as soon drive a manual transmission. Here's a comment about slick roads. It says, nothing like driving on slick roads with no weight in your wagon. Easy to stay awake half the time. LOL. Have a good ride and keep the shiny side up. As far as no weight in the truck on slick roads, in the past, I'd always, I didn't like the idea of driving empty when you're on slick roads and, snow and ice and whatnot. For some reason, this truck runs great on snow and ice. I have no problems at all. And I think the main reason is because it's such a heavy truck. You have, it's a catch-22 when it comes to weight and ice. You have a lot of weight on your truck, you get really good traction, but you got a lot of weight to slow down. When you hit the brakes, there's a lot of weight pushing you forward still. So on this truck, the fuel tanks are slid way to the back of the sleeper. So I've got the boxes up front, which one box is just tools and one box is my generator. So you got all this extra weight on the truck, which pushes down for the traction, but I'm hauling an empty trailer, so I don't have the weight. So I've got a little bit of extra traction on my drive axles, but I don't have the weight. So I'm actually finding that this truck handles great in the snow and ice, and I have no troubles at all. This is my last year. I ran a little bit of snow, not much, and this winter I've been running a lot more snow than normal, and I'm learning that I'm not having any troubles at all. I'm going up mountains or whatever, and wherever the other drivers have a full heavy load on and they get ready to take off and their tires break loose and spin, I don't. I just take right off. So I'm not having any issues with that. Here's one right here. It's not really a huge question, but it'll answer a lot of stuff, I think. What was the wind noise? Is that normal for Wyoming, or is that a mic malfunction? I enjoy your videos. Thanks. Well, that particular video that he was commenting on was, I was coming across Wyoming, and of course it's windy in Wyoming and everything, and he thought maybe it was the wind noise from the cab, you know, driving down the road, and he's like, more wind noise than normal. No, I had the defrosters on, and the defrosters are blowing on the mic. I didn't know it. I can't really hear it, but when you put the mic right up there in the wind, well, I don't know these things until later on when I'm editing. Well, it's too late to go back and reshoot it. So sometimes I have technical issues that I really can't do anything about unless I just throw the footage away. So if it's extremely bad, I throw it away. But sometimes it's not terrible. It's just a little annoying, and I kind of need the clip of video to make the whole video work together. So I apologize for all my goof ups, but I'm not a professional movie maker. This is all kind of a hobby, and I'm having fun with it. So let's see, what else? Some people ask me how I find my loads. I really don't find my loads. Dispatch finds the loads, and they just decide who gets to haul which one. That's because I'm leased to a trucking company, a carrier. I used to have to find my own loads when I did my own authority and did all my own driving and whatnot, or my own business. But nowadays, I get in the truck and I drive. When I get empty, I call them up and say, "What do you got?" They offer me sometimes only one thing, sometimes they offer me 3 or 4 things. And when they offer me multiple loads, I just take a pick and go with it. And so I don't have to look that stuff up anymore. Now, how that works is they take a percentage of the pay out of the overall revenue. So they take a percentage out of the pay, and every trucking company is a little different. Usually it's somewhere between 25 and 30%, somewhere in that area. But they take a percentage out of the revenue, and that's for doing all the bookwork, paperwork, filing your IFTA taxes and all that kind of stuff. Not your income tax, but your IFTA, which is fuel tax. They do a lot of the permits and tags, and they keep on file all the logbooks and things like that. So when I wouldn't get audited, DOT audited, the company would get DOT audited. So they have to keep all that stuff. Now, when I ran my own company, I never did get audited, but I could have been audited myself. But that's one of the things, when you lease on with a company, they do all that, the office work, all the book work and the office work. They do all that for you. So, and there's the trade-off. You pay them a little bit of money, and they do all the book work. If you want to do all the work yourself, you get to keep 100% of the money. But it's a lot of work. I'm telling you, people, lots and lots of headaches and lots of work. A lot of phone calls in the middle of the night, and so that's why I quit doing it. But the money's great. The money is really good, but the headaches are there. So, all right. Well, I think we're about out of video here, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know if this is kind of an odd video, so if you like it, leave a comment. If you don't like it, leave a comment. Let me know if you want me to do these more often. I thought I'd kill 2 birds with one stone, a Q&A and a long version video driving down the road.